6:00 p.m. Roll call.
Linda Sosa,
Jim Sayers.
Luann Hook.
Brant Murray.
Ann Lepinen.
Erin Nelson serving as town manager.
So the first thing on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the Bluff Town Council meeting of September 6, 2022. Did everybody receive them? Have you read them? And are there any changes, modifications, discussion?
They have just one comment on number 2. Well, maybe it's worded okay. It just says other grants and a possibility Chris Hall could cover. Okay, that possibility goes with the covering the 40,000. I just wanted to make sure we didn't say that was a given. It was more of a hope that they might be able to in the planning, that they had talked about it with the implementation, but we hadn't gotten to ask them yet about the planning grant. So, but it looks like it kind of sass that.
I'll second Ann. If Luann approves it, I'll second that if she makes the motion.
On number 5, I think it's in the minutes. I think it's actually on the recording that the location of the recycling is on the north, but I don't think it needs to correct the minutes, but it's actually the recycling location is on the south side of the building. So I don't know what you do with that, but there it is.
Well, I think hopefully we all understand where it is physically when we're looking at the building. So you're right, it probably doesn't matter.
We talked about it being on the south side.
Okay.
All right. Is there a motion? I didn't hear a motion. I heard a second. Who's making the motion?
Luann.
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes with those changes. Actually, just that one change.
What would be the change?
The north to south, just so there's not confusion as to where we're putting the recycling.
Okay, do we actually talk about the south?
We did at the meeting.
Okay.
I don't remember that. I remember north, northwest.
Yeah,
But
it was all over the map.
Yeah.
Sorry, I brought it up. Actually, we know where it's going to be. So
Let's just leave it as it is, since we know where it is and it's on the tape. Otherwise, we'll be adding 20 different things. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? It's unanimous. Then the Bluff Town Council work session of September 7th, 2022. Minutes. Has everybody read them? Are there any changes?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Then all in favor,
I
say
have
what?
I have on number 6. It says that the council approved something, and I'm not really sure what that phrase means, or what we approved, or whether we voted to approve something, or whether we thought it was a good idea, or can you remember the sense of that in number 6?
Let me just get to it. I read it. I thought it was okay, but let me pull it out.
They sent a detailed letter about what they would do for our water rights, and the council approved it.
So what is the question?
What did we approve? What does that mean? That the council approved it? Did they vote to approve it?
Previously, yes.
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 I think that would be more. I think that would be clearer. I don't know if you want to change the minutes, but it's like,
Yeah, that's my recollection, was that it was approved. So you want to say that
what was approved exactly?
the contract.
The contract for Sunrise.
It was approved, and so we can go ahead and
Right. And we actually approved it not last meeting, the meeting before, I believe.
okay.
I
Great.
think there's the end of that in previous meeting before that, if I'm not mistaken. But that's what that refers to.
Right.
So we can go ahead and get Mr. Tuttle to start on this?
Yeah, remember you were going to call him?
Oh, no, I'd completely forgotten that. Thank you so much for reminding me.
You were going to call and talk with him.
Yeah,
That was last week.
good thing to know. That's why I couldn't understand number 6. Great. I got it.
Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
I,
Anyone opposed? It's unanimous. All right, so I made a decision to switch things up a little bit. Normally we would, if I remember, we would go to public comment. But because there's been some changes in how the active transportation plan and the underlying grants would be approached, I decided that we should have the discussion with Molly Schmidt and Lou presenting what changes what they're recommending at this point, and then open it up for public comment. So if anyone in the public has a comment, and then we can put it on for vote about what we're going to do. So that's the thinking behind why the order is a little different. So Molly Schmidt, are you on? Yeah. Why don't you go ahead? I'm going to mute myself.
Looks like you're frozen up, Molly. Maybe. Maybe shut your video down because you're just broken and frozen.
Yep. Yeah, you're frozen. Can you hear us? Your audio is got a huge echo on it.
Okay. Let's see.
Oh, there you are. Your audio is okay.
I wonder if we ought to let her get to a different location and put this later on the agenda.
Molly, are you able to go? Are you able to go someplace else that we could come back to you when you get there?
There's just nothing coming through, Molly.
Luann, do you know enough to be able to describe to us what the changes might be that you're recommending?
Well, sure, but I wonder.
Are we just shifting
Molly,
gears to Pike, Utah?
Right. So, but I know Molly's all prepared. I hate to stumble through something that could be presented so eloquently.
Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to move 1 and 2 and the public comment. Everybody's going to have to remind me to go back to those at some point. So let's go to 3, the discussion of the recent road grading by San Juan County. And Michael should be on the call.
Yeah. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Michael. So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So recently, as everyone knows, we had some gravel road grading done. And on the 18th of August, I got a call from Todd Hurst that the grader was available to the town. And so I took advantage of that. We recently, prior to that, we had some rainfalls. And I thought the moisture would be good. And also some of the roads had some deficiencies that needed to be corrected. And that was the reason I made the decision to grade the roads. Any questions?
No, those seem like all really good reasons to grade the roads, and I think that was a good idea to have the roads graded. I don't think the issue was that decision at all. I think it had to do with the skill level, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, let's talk about that. The operator, I know from experience, has been on the grader for at least 3 years or maybe 4 years. Um, I would say, aside from where we got a complaint, I would say that the grading is okay. I mean, this is what the county is used to doing. I am currently working with Todd Deer and to come up with a standard for grading the roads in Bluff proper, and that's what I'm working on right now.
Is not the object to crown the road?
Well, the roads have a crown.
Yeah.
So let me show you something. So this is I don't know if you can see that, but
Yeah.
that's kind of a cross section of what an ideal gravel road should look like.
Yeah.
And
I don't see those curbs up there that I have on my street, and I think that's what some people were concerned about, is that it actually created curbs off on the side, or a row of gravel that probably should have been in the center or something. I don't know, but it looked funny.
Yeah, those are called windrows, and they're common in road work, in gravel road work. I measured those, and some of them they range from 4 inches to 7 or 8 inches. I surveyed your road. I surveyed all the work that was done.
I appreciate that.
And on your road over by you, let's see, 4 kilometers. So the windrow is 3 inches, from what I measured, which is acceptable. My ideal would eventually not have any windrows in the town proper. And I'm having that kind of discussion. I'm in the preliminary stages with County Roads Department. And, so again, we have to build up to that kind of road. It's not going to happen in the first pass.
I appreciate the work you've done on this, Michael, and I understand this is more complicated than probably a lot of us realize. But no, I appreciate that you're looking into this and your attention to this and so forth. It was on the spot. It's on the spot. The decision was good, and I'm behind you 100% here. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And we do have a roads committee. And so like if we brought this whole issue to Durango or Grand Junction or Salt Lake, they would, send the people to the roads committee, and then we could discuss it and just kind of follow that chain of command up to the county and whatnot. So I think that it's nice to talk about it here, but I think that we ought to all talk about it in the road committee and then come if we've got a problem or something. But I don't know a lot about grading, but I do know they pass by one time on going one direction, and then the next time they'll pick up everything that's off to that side and spread it back across the other way. So that gravel will come back over on their next pass through, is the way I understand it. But again, like without talking to the grade guy and stuff. But anyway, I just hate to take up our community council time with kind of committee jobs, but.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's bigger than that, because it went all the way up to county administration, and it needs to be addressed on the bigger picture. Maybe the specific job or the specific detail in a certain area goes back to the road committee, but I had a call from Mac McDonald and spent a fair amount of time on the phone with Mac doing some damage control. So that is a picture that falls beyond the road committee when we get that kind of a call. The section on Cottonwood to the west of West 7th was not finished. It will not be finished on this round. And Michael has talked with the road people in San Juan County. I fielded it with Mac, and that's where we are with it. But Michael was overall, if I can say this, Michael was overall fine with everything else that was done.
Yeah. You know, I hope to restore that section of road somehow. You know, I have ideas about how to do it. I don't know if I can implement that, you know, in a timely fashion, but, you know, I mean, you know, there's people that live on that street and, you know, it's important.
Mayor,
So thanks, Michael. Yes, Brand.
Michael, thank you. Thanks for paying attention to this. Thanks for all the hard work on the roads.
Thank you.
Yeah, but it's amazing how good our roads look. And this fell short of expectations, but it's something we'll work on and correct. So I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, then moving on to the fundraiser. Do we have Molly back yet? Doesn't look like it, does it?
Oh, not yet.
No.
Okay. So the fundraiser with the Bluff Fort on Saturday was extremely successful. We're still waiting for some donations that are trickling in, but we've done, we've collected more than $4,000 in donations to be able to use toward getting EMS people in. So Kane County has a class, and I've got it on the agenda. I think,
Number 5. It's number 5.
yeah, number 5. So what we have is enough money, it's $700 per person to attend. Most of it will be virtual, not all of it, but we have enough money to send probably as many serious people who want to go. And right now, Chief Lott has declined taking any part of it for the fire department because they still have funding. He'd like it to go to the EMS piece of it. So that money is being deposited in the Blufftown account. You'll see it on the financials as a specific category, then with the withdrawals coming from that. And I believe John DeLego and Kathy Carson are working out a scholarship form so that we can get that up and posted. Then I think the bigger discussion is whether San Juan County is going to hold their own this late fall or early winter, and how many more people can we get an incentive to be able to attend that.
If we just vote sort of a blanket approval of the scholarship, of the funds for scholarship, that would capture Kane County and anything that's left over, or people, you know, wanted, if there was something in San Juan, you know, that's a lot of money. So if we can just vote on that for scholarship and keep it open as to where, I'll make that motion.
I'd second.
Any further discussion? Then all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
I'm,
Anyone opposed? Then it's unanimous.
I'm keeping that open, I think, is a really good idea, because some people may not want to travel to go out to do it, and some may think that's a perk. So I think if we can keep it open and see what comes up and who's interested, that would be a good way to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. That's great. Thanks to the EMTs. And I hope we get some people who are interested. It's great.
Well, I think that the EMTs are working actively to advertise and to approach people who have previously expressed an interest, but we should also be doing the same. We should be trying to encourage anyone who's interested to at least look at it, make a decision. I was really thrilled with the amount of funding that we were able to collect. And so thank you to the fort and everyone who participated, the EMTs, the fire department, the council, the public, the German motorcycle riders, all 25 of them. they threw some serious cash in the boot. All right, then moving to number 6. Jim, do you want to cover this, the proposal on pathways and strategic planning?
Yeah, I've been in contact with, it started with Bob Springmeyer's daughter, who had mentioned that she was part of a strategic planning group a few months ago, and the mayor and I talked about it a little bit, and but really the beginning of it was when we were trying to think about strategic planning for the CCC, for the Design Review Committee. And we will probably have strategic planning specifically for that committee at some point. But we heard it's called Pathway is the organization, and it's a full service sort of a planning group from planning to funding. They do most of their work with nonprofits, but they know how to discover what the values are of an organization and elicit some goals that everyone can agree on, and so forth and so on, basically facilitating strategic planning. So we've got a proposal from them, and the whole thing is about, how long is it? About 3 months or so?
Right,
4
it's
months?
3 months. It's 3
3
months.
months? Yeah. And they have it all laid out, and I don't know, was that sent out to the council, the proposal itself?
I believe that it was, but I'm
Yeah,
done
good.
saying I'm sure it was. I believe it was. And then
Yeah,
we have a strategic planning session tomorrow with Aaron, our town manager, to to get us started in the right direction so that we can go over the proposal after we do some talking about what our respective goals and ideas are, kind of do whatever Aaron's got us lined up to do to prioritize and figure it out, and then go through the proposal specifically, because I was going to put it on for a vote tonight and then decided that didn't make any sense. We could vote next week, but we can go over the proposal and get a consensus tomorrow. Do we want to do this or don't we? I really was impressed with them. Jim asked some really good questions. Aaron asked some really good questions. Um, I think that's something that we'd really benefit from. But tomorrow, I think Aaron has a plan for us in the time that she has to go over getting us jump started, which the people from Pathways thought was a good idea. I mean, we've all got different ideas of what to prioritize. So having that session first, I think, will help us look at pathways. Jim?
no, that's great. That brings us right to the point. It's at tomorrow. Yeah. The development of this over time, I think has been really positive. The conversations that we've had, that I've been in with these folks, have been, they're no nonsense people, and they are goal oriented people. They want actionable strategic plans. So this is not stuff that you put up on the shelf. Thank you.
Good job, everybody. Excited about that.
And would you mind sending it out when I search pathways, proposal, and strategic planning on Springmeyer? Nothing's coming up from them. So unless it was titled something else and I missed it, but I have not seen it and I can't search where I've missed it. So if you could send it again, I'd appreciate it.
Sure, I can do that later tonight. One thing that would help me, partly because I'm trying to learn to use my new computer, and partly because there's so much going on right now, it would help me a lot if folks would look at the agendas and say, oh, maybe I don't have this because I.
Looks like you froze up, Ann, but yeah, it's, ideally, I guess we have a little attachment to the agenda or something. But anyway, just so we get it by tomorrow would be great.
Yeah.
Everybody has
Oh,
it.
I apologize.
Well, if you have it, if you'll send it out to me, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I have a copy, but I don't know whether it was sent to everyone. It looks like Anne has frozen there with her new computer or her old one. I don't know. But anyway, I think number 6 is done. So when she comes back,
Hi.
let's surprise her with number 7. Or Molly's back. So if Anne doesn't come back, we can really have a creative agenda here.
Maybe do you want to do that next one while Anne's gone, or what's up to you, Jim? It's your call. So go for it.
Anne just has disappeared. So
Wait about 30 seconds and let's see. I just saw her notification of leaving. Maybe she can sign back on.
I hope so.
And Molly, you look good there. It looks like you've got a strong signal now.
Yeah, I'm parked at the Monticello Visitor Center. Just trying to get back from the airport.
All right. Yeah, no, that looks like a good signal. So when it's your turn, you'll be good.
That was
Okay.
the wedding. Good. Y'all have a good wedding.
Yeah, let's use the whole public comment part to talk about the wedding. It was great. The couple was very in love. No one objected. Good bluegrass band. What more can you ask for?
That's it. That's perfect.
I don't know. Anne doesn't seem to be appearing.
We could go down and go do another item down and wait, Jim. Whatever you think. You're the vice.
Let's do number 7 and get that out of the way. That's easy enough, and that is our manager's item. So these are planning and zoning vacancies and deadlines.
And I'm just looking here, unless she pops up, I'm not seeing her on our list of attendees. So maybe they lost her at the community center. Maybe we lost
man.
maybe we lost the Wi-Fi.
Town of Bluff. There's no Town of Bluff. It was here for a while.
Nope. She's
Number 8.
Oh, there's Bluff office. Let's see.
Oh, there she is.
Hi
Okay.
there. We
Hi,
seem to
Erin.
have an internet issue here at the community center. Anne's going to be back on in just a second. Give me just
Okay.
a second.
Meanwhile, Erin, it's your deal. Number 7, the update on the vacancies and the deadlines. You're muted. Both of you are muted.
I was deliberately muted because I didn't want what I was saying.
We've
which
gone to
only
number
involved-
We've gone to number 7. Go ahead, Erin, please.
Really fast, going back to number 6, for any town council members who can attend in person tomorrow, that would be recommended. It will be a hybrid meeting, but in person for brainstorming is always appreciated. So 10:30 tomorrow. Alrighty, planning and zoning vacancies, unless anyone had anything else. All right, planning and zoning. We do have 2 vacancies right now. We are accepting applications through this Friday, September 16th. If you are at all interested in the planning and zoning process and willing to commit to 2 meetings a month as of right now, it would be very much appreciated. You just need to send a letter to planningzoning@townofbluff.org. Again, you would be a resident of Bluff and qualified voter in order to apply. Again, we are really looking for applications if anyone's interested. Any questions?
Great. Thank you very much. That was quick. Mayor, you have a choice of number 8 or Molly's back on, and we can pop over to that presentation. Either one.
So let's go back to Molly.
Okay, it looks like I have a pretty good signal, and I'll try to be concise here. Thanks for dealing with my internet issues. It seems like there's a couple today. So for those of you been following the kind of overall, I guess in the past couple months, the town of Bluff have approved a working committee to fund and create a active transportation plan. We're still working out the bylaws of that committee, but for all intents and purposes, the purpose of that committee is to apply for grants, make recommendations, and get some kind of bike path, or there's a little, we're trying to figure out the correct language that covers everything, but some kind of safe path for bicycles and pedestrians through the town of Bluff that eventually could connect to throughout the region. And originally we had we're planning on applying for a safe streets and routes for all grant that was due this week. However, after talking with an organization called Bike Utah, they actually provide planning services for communities. And so they have committed to working with the town of Bluff to create an active transportation plan document that we can then use to go after funding. So during this fall time into winter, we'll be planning a series of engagements for the spring. We'll have some community workshops in the spring. It will take about 6 months to complete the document, and then we'll be able to apply for construction grants by next fall. So just a little bit about Bike Utah. The services they provide are planning, community engagement, active transportation, creating the actual document itself. It's funded by the Governor's Office of Economic Opportunity. And what they kind of require from their partners is an alignment with their values. So some of their values and the recommendations that they're going to make will be about safe places for transportation, family-friendly bicycle and path infrastructure, and they'll implement walkable community strategies. And something that they also require of the community is some kind of project manager or point person that can help schedule, coordinate, kind of be the public engagement liaison, basically getting the community to show up. So the more that Bluff shows up, the better that our plan is going to be, and the more that Bike Utah is going to be able to offer us. So again, that timeline is to start in 2023 and finish the plan in 6 months, and then apply for construction grants in the fall. And its engagement can look like surveys, focus groups, and workshops. And there'll probably be about 3 to 5 rounds of community engagement and feedback. And I'm trying to think if there's any other information. I'm not able to share my screen right now, but if anyone is interested, maybe there's a way that I can show some of the different transportation. I'll put a link in the chat to the Bike Utah website after this, but they have examples of active transportation plans that they've put together, and it's very comprehensive. It follows the UDOT guidelines and basically the requirements for grants that we might apply for in the fall for construction. And this has all been at kind of the working specifically with the town of Bluff and the council, and also the committee has put in a lot of hard work. So I just want to say thank you to everybody for working together and trying to find a path towards like getting this done. And it's a big win. So congratulations, everybody.
Great. I love it.
I do too.
So I just want to emphasize 2 things. One is Molly and Luann worked really hard. And when Molly could feel a little bit of pushback from the council, she kept digging and didn't give up. So she came up with an option that allows us to do the active transportation plan at minimal cost to the council, other than having a designated point person. It allows us to nominate the committee and vote on that after we take the public comment. And it allows the committee then the ability to look at grants and opportunities in a way that we feel we can all work together. So Molly, this is a huge win, and you have 100% my support on this. And I'm going to guess that probably 100% across the board, but we'll see when we vote. Anybody else want to ask a question or say anything?
I would just like to say we met with UDOT on Friday. That would be Mayor Ann and Molly and myself, and they were also in support of this route. What it does is it basically hurdles us right over the whole grant application. We don't have to do all the work to apply. We don't have to go through the interviewing. We don't have to get that grant. We can just go straight to planning. And those grants weren't going to even be approved till winter time. So this just speeds up the timeline, and the work it saves is just incredible. So having Bike Utah have that connection to be able to work for towns and for Molly to make that connection was, they've been at another one of our meetings, and they're not new to Bluff. They've ridden through, they've done some studies through. And so it wasn't like a cold call. She was able to just reconnect with them and get this going. So, but UDOT is also in support.
And that's a good point, because in the meetings that Brant started with Main Street, Chris Wiltsey and Bike Utah were involved in some of those. So it kind of ties everything together through Bike Utah and UDOT. So, yeah.
Fantastic idea. And planning is what we need, and public meetings is how to do it. So I love the idea. Thank you guys so much.
Okay, so hopefully I actually sent out the resolution to authorize a committee, and the committee, as I understand it, would be Luann Hook, Molly Schmidt, Deborah Westfall, Anthony Lott, Joe Hubbard, and Jim Sayers.
That's right.
And so if we all got it, then I just use the words active transportation plan and subsequent grant applications to kind of cover everything. So first of all, did I send it? Did everybody get it?
I did.
Any changes, suggestions? So, a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve active transportation committee and the
Okay, well, I'm going to stop myself because I just now skipped over the public comment. Let's hear if there's any public comment before we take the vote.
Yeah, thank
So
you.
Okay, so is there any public comment? And I'm just worried we're going to lose the internet connection. If we lose it again, I'm going to log off and take my computer and go home. But yeah, and I'll log in there because I'm on hopefully a different system. So who would like to make a public comment? Anyone?
I think you've got one. Let's see. Bluff Fire comments that you can come across the street, Ann.
Okay, thank you. If I lose internet, that's what I will do. So if there's no public comment on the switch of,
Anne,
yes,
this is Jackie. Looking out my window across the river, there are big bolts of lightning, so it may hit the tower and you may all be out. It looks pretty scary over there.
thank you, Jackie Warren. I appreciate it. I thought maybe I was just sending bad karma to my computer, so thank you.
Mayor, I think we should make a vote to approve the active transportation plan, the Safe Routes Grant, Bike Utah opportunity that Miley and Luann have brought to us, and the resolution appointing the committee members. And I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
A second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
I
All right.
Anyone
Aye.
opposed? Well, Molly, it's unanimous. You did it. Good job.
Yay, we did it. Good job, everybody.
yeah, thank you, Molly.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
And I like Brant mentioned active transportation committee. Maybe is the thing that we are. We're doing all of the trails and bikes and walking and whatnot. So keep that one
Yeah.
in mind.
Mayor's got a good idea there.
Mhm.
All right, then we'll wait to hear what's going on from you guys later on. Oh, I love the thunder. All right, number 9, update on community development block grant bidding process. Before we move to that, I just want to know if anyone in the council
Hey, Ann. I'm so sorry. I think we
8,
didn't do
number 8.
Am I on 8? Oh, you're right. I'm going to the wrong one. Thunder's throwing me off. Okay. On the forms for application for the alleys and roadways, I talked with Chris McEnany today and he wants to look them over. So the vote will have to move to next week, which is fine. He will look over the application, the fact that we need an ordinance for the fee, and the procedure that we're going to use. So in the forms that I sent, did anybody see anything they wanted corrected or changed or added? I haven't sent them to Chris yet. I'm holding off until.
I just am not real clear why we're contacting utilities, but he can, that's and I'm not sure what a partial vacate is defined as, but those are the only questions that I had. And they don't have to be answered tonight.
Okay, I'm just making a note so that I can put that in the email to Chris.
It's fine.
I can just answer the question that I used, kind of a combination of 3 or 4 different entities process for doing this. And so it's kind of a hybrid, but some of these were in every single one. And I tried to stick with the ones that were consistent in Utah, but Chris is going to look through it, and if anybody comes up with another question, just let me know and I'll give him a string of questions, because right now he's swamped. And so to get his attention to look at this, I'm going to have to kind of push to get it on for next week.
Thank you for doing that.
Anybody else have a suggestion, comment? Okay, now I'm going to try to move to.
And hold on, I was muted. Sorry. I just have one question. On this, it's a petition to vacate, so you're asking for, the whole legal description and things. Is this also where they need to notify and get signatures from the adjoining property owners and that kind of thing? Is this where that would happen, or would they have to do that at a later
Yes.
time? So
No, that's in the petition. In the petition, every adjoining landowner has to sign off. So if you have a block and that alley runs through the block, you can't just, as I understand it legally, we can't just vacate one piece of the alley for that piece. You have that block, you have to vacate the entire thing. So all adjacent landowners have to sign off, and notice has to be given to all adjacent landowners. And so it's a pretty complex process. And that's why the filing fees run between $250 and several $1,000s, because it takes a lot of clerk time, a public hearing, notice in the paper, making sure the signatures are all legit, getting everything ready to record. So it's a big deal.
Mayor,
Yes.
understanding that it is a big deal and very expensive, it seems to me less of a priority maybe than some of the other stuff, just under that. And that's just my comment.
Brent, I couldn't hear, you were broken up a little. Do you mind saying that again?
I'll be happy to. I said, understanding what a lengthy process and that it is and how expensive it is, it may fall to a lesser priority than something else that Chris is dealing with for us. So that was my point.
Right.
It should.
Okay. Yep. Thank you.
So the priority for Chris, as I've outlined it to him today, is number 1, getting us through the disconnect process, what we need to do for that. And then number 2 would be the alleys, because we have our first the first request to the town. Everything else we've inherited from the alleys. But he's been given a list of priorities. So I agree. The disconnect is the number 1 piece, along with Aaron's work on the CDBG block bidding process. So any other questions or comments on 8 before I move to 9? Okay, number 9. I'm going to well, before I let Aaron take over to explain what we have to do, I just want to know, a couple of weeks ago when I sent out the contract, I told all of you I hesitated because of one provision, and I'm just curious if anyone other than one person had a comment. Anybody look at the contract closely enough to see where they think I might have had an issue? Because I think it is something that I had to really think about.
Yeah, I think I called one of the parts of the contract, but I can't remember which one. I asked you about it though. I think you got an email or something.
Right, you said number 8 on page 8, workers' comp. I think that was it. But you said it was the
Yeah.
workers' comp one. You thought I might have an issue with that. I'm sorry, I'm taking the time to find this. Okay, it's on page 4 of the contract. And at least I thought it was on page 4. What it basically says is that we have to acknowledge and agree that we will work with any kind of civil unrest on our property while we're getting this money. And it's something that I really hesitated to say that we could agree to, but I believe it's in all the federal agreements.
That's an issue.
Well, the way it's worded was really concerning. Page 404, okay. Yeah, I can't find it right offhand, but it's basically that you have to deal with civil unrest in a particular way with protests. So I did sign it. So Aaron, do you want to briefly take over and describe what you're doing?
Yeah, I thought you might have issue with the no cause termination of 45 days. Any party can cancel the contract, which is concerning. But no, so since the contract has been signed by the mayor and myself, we are now moving to an official sealed bid process. So because these are federal funds, there are specific ways in which we must manage the grant. One of which is because this is a construction grant, we need to receive formal bids from architects, engineers, general contractors, and there are very specific regulations which they must meet. But we have, I've drawn up an RFP, request for proposal, and I will submit that on Friday to the San Juan Record. It has to be posted 2 weeks in a row. So that'll be Wednesday, September 21st and Wednesday, September 28th. And the actual bid will be open on October 5th. That's Wednesday, October 5th. All of these timelines are set out by CBDG, and the bid will be open from October 5th through October 28th. That's Friday, October 28th. The RFP spells out exactly what they must submit in their sealed bid, and then the town council will open and read the bids on the regular town council meeting on November 1st. Again, it is a very, very detailed process. We will be tasked with ensuring that minority and women-owned businesses have the ability to submit a proposal. It is an affirmative action thing. Again, these are all federal funds. Another important thing to note is that all applicants would be required to submit a bid bond, which essentially guarantees that the bid they're submitting is accurate, so we don't get way under, get some crazy proposal that would be very low. And then I'm so sorry, very loud outside. I hope you all can hear me okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. In addition to that, the applicant who we then select would also need to provide, and sorry, the bid bond is 5% of the contract, total contract price. The applicant that is selected would then need 2 additional bonds. One is a performance bond and one is a payment bond, which is essentially certifying that they would be able to, uphold the contract. So unfortunately, this is not something that should take lightly, as it shouldn't be. But I just want to let you all know that there are specific regulations that we will need to meet, and we will do everything we can to, make sure that this is handled to CBG's standards. Are there any questions about the bidding process and the timeline that I've laid out for September and October?
It is extremely complex, and Erin has done an amazing job at putting this all together. Sayers, when you said that, good luck when you handed off book number 1 and 2. If I had gone to that meeting instead of you, I don't know that we would be doing this right now. I've been impressed with Erin's ability to sort through everything.
Our compliance has never been an issue, and with the sharp people we have, we want to keep it that way. We're always going to be in compliance, so that's really great.
So I found the paragraph. It's called excessive force certification. We certify that as a CDBG grantee, the town of Bluff will adopt and enforce a policy prohibiting the use of excessive force by law enforcement agencies against any individuals engaged in nonviolent civil rights demonstration in accordance with, and then it cites a federal law. So it didn't matter if I had a problem with this paragraph because it's going to be in all federal contracts. So I'm not sure how we adopt and enforce such a policy, but I will be talking to Chris at some point after we accept the bid and figure out our timeline. Any questions?
No, ma'am.
I don't know if Britt Hornsby is on or not, but he went to the Bears Ears National Monument meeting a couple of weeks ago. And he may not be on because he sent me a summary, which I can.
You want to summarize it, or do you want to have him on next when he's available, Mayor?
Well, I think that I can just go ahead and summarize it because it's just kind of the introduction to that planning process.
Yes,
It's the cooperating agencies' initial meeting. It was, I believe, on August 29th. If we want the PowerPoint, he took some screenshots and we can get them, but there'll be public scoping meetings, and I believe I forwarded to everyone one of the public scoping meetings emails from July 18th that outlines the meeting dates and places. The biggest thing is that we have to sign an MOU for cooperating agencies, and Britt said he would sign off on that when it came in. And then the Blanding city manager objected to language in the cooperating agency's expectation that says there's an expectation that since the cooperating agency has worked with other agencies in the BLM, the cooperating agency will not protest the final plan. And the manager thought this was something Blanding City Council would not approve. And so BLM is looking at that language. But otherwise, Britt will be attending these meetings for us, and I will touch base with him to see if he wants to do a quick presentation of slides after the next scoping meeting. And any thoughts on that? Does that sound okay?
Sounds good.
Yeah. All right, moving to number 11. Jim, that's yours. Update on Utah Department of Cultural and Community Engagement grant.
Yes, I got this grant in on the 7th at 6. At about 5 o'clock. It was due by 6, and it came out to 8 pages. I sent some out, and I think everybody's got on the council's got a copy in one way or another right now. But it's a very specific project with no match. The project is the fire suppression system. There's no match required, and it is there's $79,000 possible. So that is, you know, I thought that was a pretty good thing to do. It was very straightforward, so we'll just see what happens. It's with a Utah department that just got a new name, and it's the Department of Cultural and Community Engagement. Don't know what it was previously, but Governor Cox rechristened it. I know that. Any questions on that?
Thank you. Thank you. Good job.
Yep, good job. The grant looked really good to me.
Thank you.
I don't remember when they would have let you know on that one.
That's a good question. I've still got, I go into the portal and you get rated. Various of the questions are rated. So I haven't seen any ratings yet, but I can call them and find that out soon. I'll be curious enough to find out real soon. So I'll let you know when I do.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for putting it in.
Mm-hmm.
So that's for the fire suppression system at the CCC.
Specifically, yes, that's the project.
Okay,
That's
so
the name of
we will need to have that joint banking resolution signed by UDB and given to Heather and Linda so that they can set up the account. Did UDB say if they signed it today?
They didn't say that.
Well, I sent it off over the weekend to Woody and Dave. Because if we get that, my understanding from Pathways is that was a fast turnaround on that grant. And if it is, and we get the money, it has to have a home.
Yes, it does.
Okay, Brant and Jim.
We will have to give them an account to put it into, I think.
Right. Okay, then any other questions or thoughts? Then I am on the pre-disaster mitigation committee for San Juan County. There was a meeting on August 25th, 2022. There was an introductory meeting previous to that, but I had conflicting meetings and did not go. The question for Bluff on August 25th from, back up, they hired a consulting firm. And the consulting firm is interviewing each one of the participant communities. And because we're required by code to have a pre-disaster mitigation plan, an emergency plan, and since if we had something that was called a disaster, we would not be handling it. We would be immediately going up the food chain, but we have to have that plan. And so we can tie into San Juan County. So that's what we've done. We're tying into San Juan County's pre-disaster mitigation plan. The county put out the money for the consultant, I believe, and he or they are doing a round of community meetings. Ours is October 18th at 1:30. And I think it's really important that the community show up and talk about, you know, what does a disaster look like? What can we plan for? What do we know about our community? And part of the reason it's so important is other communities like, say, Monticello, for example, they have a plan and it ties to the counties, but we don't have the resources to have the plan. So what we want is going to be in their plan. So our ideas, our needs are there, and our needs may be very different from the northern part of the county. So I really would encourage the community and definitely the council and planning and zoning to be at this, if at all possible, so that we can hear what the consultant is looking at as a big picture for San Juan County, and then specifically what do we need? What kind of support do we need?
Mayor?
Yes.
We went through a lot of disaster stuff in Nags Head for hurricanes, and these are great processes. They really discover a lot of things. So, and a lot of it's tied to federal dollars and federal disaster relief. So it's really important that we fill this out and get our folks there. It's a great thing for the communities and the county.
Is this meeting going to be in Bluff?
Yes, at the community center.
What time?
It is at 1:30, October 18th, 2022, 1:30. We'll be making another announcement or two, and we've got posters we can put up. Tammy Gallegos will be doing countywide blasts because every community is having the same thing. It's just staggered over a couple of days. There is a countywide one in Blanding, I believe, but each community has their own individual. I might pop into the big one, but this is the one I'm really most concerned about, making sure that our voice is heard since I was asked what plan do we have, and I said we're 4 years into it, we don't have a laid out. I know the fire department has a plan, and I'm sure that there's planning with the county, but in terms of what we need specifically to us, we need to be at that meeting.
You know, and this thing would cover natural disasters. Like, we don't have a giant area to burn like California, but that's kind of what they're talking about: hurricanes, tornadoes. I had Jackie Warren tell me, I don't know if Jackie's still on, this is the safest place in America. Safest place in America. Tornadoes are not here. We did have one since I've been here, but anyway, we need to do this. I won't belabor this.
Well, I'll be giving plenty of reminders because I really would like community participation. So, maybe throw in some refreshments to bribe people in the middle of the day. Then if there's nothing else, we'll move to number 13, update on addressing and a vote on the application to get an address. And I wasn't sure if Aaron had sent that out or not, so I hope I sent it out yesterday, late last night, on the new address application. So go ahead.
Okay.
Aaron, why don't you give an update then?
Yeah, so with the addressing project, I will call it, of course, we are starting to get folks, especially the more that we're talking about it, who, want to get in line to make sure that they have the correct address. So I looked at a couple different cities and towns who, have handled this and put together an application, or excuse me, a form that residents can use. That should have been sent out to the entire council. I will just share it really fast so the residents online can kind of see what we're talking about as well. Essentially, we are asking for quite a lot of detail. One of the biggest highlights that I want to give and make, put on public record is that specific addresses are for buildings and not just like little tiny accessory buildings and things like that. But we would not assign addresses to vacant lots that, don't have a building currently. The address itself is very specific to the building. And in addition to that, we need to know where the driveway access is. This all goes back to, just services in general, but if we're calling 911, we need to know where the driveway is to access that building. So if you don't have a building yet, if you don't have a building permit, you're not going to get an address. Now, if it's a new build, we do have some other specifications, but it's just going to ask the person filling out the form for some details. In addition, there are very specific ways that we give addresses for duplexes, apartments, things like that. So that all would be notated. And then as of right now, these are going to me since I am working on this project, but that could change in the future. But that's where it is right now. Questions, concerns, anything that you think is missing?
Yeah, I have a comment on tax parcel number. A number of the residences in the Cottonwood Addition sit across 2 or even, in my case, 3 small tax parcels. Since each block is divided into 12, they're small. So just make it plural. Otherwise, I think it's going to be a little misleading. I don't know. These tax parcels are very small on this side of town.
Okay. I'll make that plural. Thank you for the feedback, Jim.
I have one other question, Aaron. I love the form, and we've had all our forms for today's meeting have been fantastic. What if someone who needs an address doesn't come forward and apply?
That's a really great question. So as I'm working on this project, that, it's all going to kind of fall in, and I'll hope I have, additional updates in the very near future. But yes, we will be addressing those, since this is kind of like a blanket plan to correct and put a process in place going forward. Residents would be notified if we were to, assign an address. I will also be working with the utility companies to kind of get the initial view of what the addresses are, compare it to our grid system, compare it to what the residents say they have. So this is a very involved process, but certainly, here on public record, if someone has questions about their address, this is a great way to get the process started. And for us, the most important thing is documenting it when folks write in. I do have a number of people who've already reached out to me directly. And so if and when this is passed tonight, I would send them this form to make sure that we have all the information gathered.
Mayor, do you need a motion to approve this form?
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any further discussion? I just have one comment, because I've been feeling, up until Aaron being hired and taking this on, I've been feeling all the requests for addresses and address changes and new addresses. And the only direction that I feel that I needed to give to Aaron is, this is not push your way to the front and bully to get it. Aaron's going to go in the order that she receives the request, where it's an appropriately documented, meets the criteria request. And so, please let everybody kind of prioritize, because I know, like for myself, our address was wrong. It got goofy with the county and how it got corrected. And, I know that the temptation to want to push to the head of the line because I want it. And so please, this is a new process. It's huge. Erin's taken on a huge project. So let her prioritize as these come in. And so people waiting out there, just be patient. Erin's got it, along with CDBG.
Finish it by time next year, maybe. That would be a normal expectation. Maybe we'll have it done in a year, I think.
I'm hoping I can give a solid timeline as to when I have certain toll gates. But yes, I definitely appreciate the patience, but recognize, this is really important, especially as, we have additional builds, but just for the residents who've been here, we want to make sure that everything is correct. And I also want to make sure that I don't have to redo anything. So be patient as I get it correct, as we get it correct.
30% of San Juan County has not been appropriately and accurately attached to 911 information. So this is so crucial for us and it's a big project. So thank you, Erin. You're doing a great job on that.
We didn't vote.
Yep. So all in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Thank you. It's unanimous. Then moving to number 14, I just sent out this draft resolution that the league is working on, the Utah League of Cities and Towns, because I think it really addresses short-term rental and is really trying to make a policy to take to the legislature. And I'm wondering if I can put it on next week for a vote, or if you can do it tonight, for me to send a note to the league saying that we support it or we don't. But I think it's extremely important on how these short-term rentals right now are just eating up housing for future residents and people trying to find housing.
Yeah, I'd like to make
Yeah. And I just wanted to note that it seemed to me that this resolution is really something that is trying to establish local control over what's going on, and this is a big problem in many ways in the state of Utah, and STRs are just one aspect of that. So you were going to make a motion there, Brant?
I support this, and I don't see why we need to wait till next week to send it off to the league. So that's my motion. Just send a letter to the league supporting this.
Well, if he can make the motion, I can second it.
All right, that's it. We should send a letter to the league supporting this. And y'all,
And Jim's right. This is something that says give us local control. Every situation, every town, every city, every county is different.
Yeah, it's going to be the same thing with the ATVs, and it's going to be the same thing with a lot of stuff heading on up, because the Utah State Legislature is just taking away local control for all kinds of ways.
So it is in our planning and zoning, and that's part of, I was going to say exactly what Sayer said, but yes, it's, they want to have that planning and zoning control. So this just authorizes them. They worked on it for 2 years in a committee, and this is what they presented, and they want to take it to the legislature so that they've got to keeps it in the towns.
Call a question.
What, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? It's unanimous. Just a follow-up question, Luann. When you say planning and zoning is working on this, you mean Bluff's planning and zoning?
Right. Every town has planning and zoning, and the state is trying to take that part of planning and zoning to the state level instead of to the community level.
Okay, and what is our planning and zoning doing?
Well, we have a short-term rental ordinance.
Right. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Every town across the country has probably something to say about it. But like, I believe it's Arizona that they say that nobody can control them whatsoever. And they've taken that control from them. And maybe that's changed again. It's been a couple of years since I heard that. But Utah would like to do a similar thing where short-term rentals are not part of local planning and zoning.
Right,
Yep.
but I thought what you were saying is that Bluff's planning and zoning was working on taking action at the legislature, and that's what I was trying to sort out.
Well, thanks for sorting it out.
Okay. Then number 15, I was going to suggest that we move our third meeting in October to the following week, so from October 18th to the 25th, because of the Lyman disconnect. However, after talking with Chris McEnany today about the time frame and the amount of work that needs to get done by us, we're realistically not going to have a public hearing in October. I'm going to ask to have a consensus to use November 3rd, which is a Thursday, from 5 to 7 p.m. And if I can get a consensus, just to call or email Bruce Baird to see if that works for him. We need additional time, and October is so jammed that I just felt like, and Chris agreed, we just need a couple more weeks in that schedule.
do you need a motion or you just want consensus? Because
I just needed consensus on it. Is there anybody that opposes moving it to November 3rd for some reason?
Is that the public meeting that's necessary?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's fine with me.
That works for me too.
Okay, good. Yeah, we need some time on the way October is sorting out. It's just getting so full that I'm concerned that I won't have time to devote to it like I need to.
So the summary there is then that we're keeping it on October 18th, our regular meeting.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll follow our regular schedule.
Okay.
Well, does anyone have an other? Erin has her hand up.
I have kind of a fun other since we have a couple minutes. So I don't know, maybe I'm just out of the loop, but I have heard that Utah is considering adopting a new state flag. And there's a task force that's, I don't know if this has been on any of our meetings, but there's a task force that was tasked with getting ideas. They've narrowed it down to 20 potential new flags. And I would encourage folks to go out to flag.utah.gov to submit your thoughts on these new flags. So that's my comment today.
I like the one that looks like Delicate Arch. It's like number 19 or something. So I looked at them, and that's my favorite.
Well, good. I haven't looked at them, but I will. Thanks for raising that. Anyone else have another? If not, it is
Motion to adjourn.
7:15. Okay, 7:15. Is there a second? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, good night and thanks, everybody. I'm shutting the recorder off.
Good job.
Thank you very much.